What's going on, guys? So, I wanted to get this recorded last night. I spent about 45 minutes split between two games, between Pokemon White and Pokemon Black 2. Because of anti-piracy. I didn't realize that I had not applied anti-piracy to it, and so I wasn't earning any experience, and that was an issue. So, I spent a little time last night looking up some stuff, went to bed, got up this morning, it's Monday, it's about 10:35, and decided to just go ahead and take care of everything now. So this should be patched, this should be working properly. We will see. I have re-randomized the game because it is not fair if I have any sort of advantage. I need to come into this playthrough completely in the dark. So, with that being said, it will be a randomized Nuzlocke, Genderlocke, Typelocke challenge. So, I'll explain the rules of that. I'll put a set of rules in the description just for anybody who's new to some of them or any of them. If you're finding, a Nuzlocke video for the very first time, and we'll go from there. So, a Nuzlocke works as such. There are three rules that I will be adhering to. The first rule is that I have to catch the first encounter in each area. If I feint it, or it flees using roar or teleport or whatever, I forfeit the encounter. There's a couple exceptions to that rule that I'll go over. For example, if it is this, it's called species clause. If it is of the same species as a Pokemon that I already own. So if I have a Charizard in my party and I come across a Charmander, I don't have to catch the Charmander. I can actually re-encounter, and that's viable. I can catch the Charmander. It is optional. So if I have a Charizard that's not doing so well, and I want to catch a Charmander and raise him myself, I can do that. The other one is called Dupes Clause, or Duplicate Clause. So if I find a Charizard in the wild and I have a Charizard in my party, I can choose not to catch him and re-encounter. I also have, because I'm running a Genderlocke challenge, I will be using a full party of whatever gender my starting Pokemon is. That means that if my starting Pokemon is a male, my entire party through the game will only be male Pokemon or gender-neutral Pokemon. So with that comes the encounter rule regarding that. I've seen some people talk that they will do, you have one chance, that first encounter has to be of the same gender, and if you don't get it, then you forfeit. I've seen some people say that you just keep encountering. I'm going to go with the 3 encounter rule. I have 3 encounters to find a gendered Pokemon that is the same as my starter, or a gender-neutral Pokemon. If within those 3 encounters I don't find a Pokemon, I forfeit the encounter. So that's the rules regarding encounter. The second rule is that any Pokemon that I catch, I have to nickname. Now this is going to be particularly difficult for me because I'm so used to just hitting the B button and not nicknaming Pokemon that it's going to be a new rule for me. So we will see what we have here. We have Dusknoir, Archeops, and Clamperl. I think the obvious choice here is Dusknoir. And so I will name him once I get to Professor Juniper's lab. I will have the option to nickname him. Now, one thing that you should note is that everything is randomized in this playthrough. So even the Pokemon that they have here, they don't get the other 2 starter Pokemon like they normally do. It's going to be completely randomized. One thing I should mention, the Nuzlocke does not start until after I get Pokeballs. Because there have been times in the regular game, the non-randomized game, where I've lost one of these battles. Well, that would make for a very short video. That would make for a 5-minute video to lose one of these battles and just say, okay, well, the only Pokemon I have is dead. So, Bianca is going to start out with Abomasnow. Uh, Back to the rules. So, I have to nickname my Pokemon. That's going to be difficult for me because I typically don't nickname Pokemon. I Let me see. We'll go with Bind. I don't have much of a choice as far as move sets go. I have a feeling that I'm going to end up losing this battle anyways. Uh, yes, that right there, lowering speed and doing a decent bit of damage. Of course, I'm going to disable Leer. So this battle is actually going to be a loss, and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, the Nuzlocke challenge does not start until I get Pokeballs. Uh, Now from here, the last rule of the Nuzlocke challenge is that any Pokemon that faints, with the exception of here at the very beginning, it's once I get Pokeballs, any Pokemon that faints is considered dead. And I have to either box that Pokemon or release it. For the sake of this particular playthrough, I will be boxing everything that faints. And I'm doing that for a very specific reason. I'm doing that because if I release it, let's say I need a Pokemon that I need to have a Pokemon that can know Strength or Surf. And the only Pokemon that can do that is stuck in the dead box. I will pull it out for the sole purpose of learning Strength or Surf or whatever HM I need. I'm going to try to follow the encounter rule as closely as possible, and you guys may have noticed that my starter Pokemon is a male Dusknoir. That means for the rest of the game, the only Pokemon that I can catch will be males or gender-neutral Pokemon. Like, if I find Raikou or Magnezone or whatever, I can catch those. But I cannot catch any female Pokemon, which it sucks a little bit because there are female-only Pokemon out there. There's Nidoran female. There's Miltank. Miltank is probably one of my more hated Pokemon, just because I remember the old Gold Silver Whitney's Miltank. But I don't like limiting myself to what Pokemon I can catch, and this is gonna do that. But that's okay. We will adjust fire from there, and we'll see what we can do. So we're gonna battle Charon now. Hopefully I can get a win against him just so I can get some experience. This Dusknoir is going to be really good with helping to catch Pokemon, and he's going to send out Golem. So, this is probably going to be another loss, but we will certainly see. But I'm going to go ahead and I outspeed. Maybe not. If the only thing he can use against me is Tackle, he will always fail at that. But so he's got Defense Curl, which isn't going to matter because I've just going to spam Nightshade at the moment. Now, the other rule that I have in effect is called the Typelocke. Now, that rule states that I cannot have two Pokemon of the same primary type in my party at the same time. Which means that I can't have two primary fire types or two primary water types in my party. Now, I can have a primary fire type and a Pokemon who's we'll say, flying as their primary type, but fire is the secondary type. I can have that. Secondary types do not matter as far as that goes. And I just gained 2 levels out of that, because Golem is a little bit of an experience. 3 levels out of that, correction. Golem is a little bit of an experience horde. So that'll actually make up for losing that first battle as far as experience goes. And the fact that I've got experience lets me know that the anti-piracy patch to fix that is working. So this will actually be a valid playthrough. I can actually go through it. Now you may have noticed I have the trainer card up on the screen. I tried yesterday to update it mid-recording. I can't update it mid-recording. I have seen people that have tools like on Twitch and even YouTube videos that they can't update it mid-recording. Those are a little bit more advanced than what I'm typically used to. Give me time, I will get to it. Once I can get used to that and can get familiarized with that, then I will start using them in my videos. And I can update more easily. I apologize for the yawns. I was up a little bit late last night trying to get some of these recordings down, trying to mess around with anti-piracy, so on and so forth, and was just not able to. So I was up a little bit late. And then I have class today. So, for those of you who don't know, I live in Kansas right now. We got hit really hard Saturday night with rain. It wasn't like a heavy rain, but it was the entire day we got hit with rain. And then it all froze overnight. So we have a lot of ice on our roads right now. I may not end up going to my class today. I'm going to see how the roads are, and I'm going to see how they feel as far as walking on. Because my goal is today, this is going to be shorter than an hour. I'm thinking I'll probably go 45 minutes. That should get me to the first gym. 45 minutes, yeah, it's shorter than an hour that I had intended, but I will make it up by doing, I will do an hour tomorrow, or I'll do an hour tonight. That way I can release that tomorrow, and I'll do an hour on Thursday. Now, one thing I had talked about in one of the recordings that I wasn't able to actually use was that I'm considering changing up my release dates, because I started thinking about it. So Tuesdays I'm in class from 12:30 until 5, and then I usually have time to come home and eat dinner, and then I do a trading card club with a bunch of my friends, some of whom will be collaborating with me for some YouTube videos. One of my friends, Alex, I'm probably going to do a black 2, white 2 Soul Link with him. My friend Ashton, we're talking about doing the same thing but with Fire Red Leaf Green. So let's go ahead and give this Dust Noir a nickname, and I think I'm going to just go with something easy. Not a lot of these nicknames are going to be really elaborate. If they ever need to require explaining, I will explain it. I'm just going to call him Shadow. And so, anyway, back to my schedule. So that's my schedule for Tuesday, which means by the time I get home from Trading Card Club, it's typically between 9 and 10. I could record that night. I could record that morning. But it's going to be piling a lot of stuff on top of what I already have to do. And then I started thinking about my Thursday schedule, and it's the same schedule for Thursday, except that after class, we typically go out to eat at Buffalo Wild Wings. They have half-price wings, or really cheap wings anyways. And then I do a bowling league after that. So I'm typically gone from about 1 in the afternoon until about 11 o'clock at night. Which is not a lot of fun to try to run around and get a recording out and get the editing done and everything. And so what I might end up doing is switching my release dates to Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And I do that because I have one class on Wednesdays, and that's from 12:30 to 1:30. I have no classes on Fridays. Saturdays are typically pretty open. If I'm going to end up going somewhere, to do something with my girlfriend or whatever, it's probably going to be in the afternoon. So I could still get a recording out in the morning and put it up. My goal is in the future, I want to actually get to the point where I can record like 4 solid hours, like an hour of one game, and then an hour of another game, and then an hour of a third game, and so on and so forth, and kind of get it put back into reserve so that I can release without having to do recording. That is my goal. It's something that's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to. Um, I'm still kind of getting used to how the semester is going to go for me. Still kind of getting used to the fact that I now have, you know, I have stuff going on almost every night of the week. Wednesday night is my one night where I don't have anything going on, and Friday night, but occasionally Friday night is, hang out with friends. So my goal is that I will I will have stuff put back into reserves so that I can wake up on a Friday morning and go, I'm not quite feeling it today. I got a lot of homework, but I'm gonna release a video. By doing that, that'll also allow me to stretch things out a little bit, because as you guys have seen, Pokemon is the only thing that I have done Let's Plays for. I have a lot of games on Steam that I want to start doing Let's Plays for. I have H1Z1 that it's an interesting little zombie game, and I like it better than DayZ, but it's something I'm still getting used to. We also have, or I also have, like South Park: The Stick of Truth, just Dragon Age, lots of different games that I want to try, or that I want to do Let's Plays for. I kind of wish that I had a recording program for my Xbox 360. If any of you know of any, that would definitely help me out, because that would give me a multitude of games to do Let's Plays for. One thing I am going to be doing a Let's Play for, this was originally going to be the very first game I was ever going to do a Let's Play for, and Pokemon was just a little easier to figure out. It was going to be State of Decay. It is an open world, third-person zombie base building, resource management, driving game. There's so many different genres that it pieces together that I feel like my explanation doesn't give it credit, or doesn't do it justice. And so I will be doing that, and I'm going to be doing that simply because I love the people over at Undead Labs. The developers of the game are absolutely incredible. They have some amazing forums. They're doing amazing things. They listen to their fans. They've done a lot of charity work with Operation Supply Drop, which, if you don't know what that is, Google it. I did a little gaming event last year. Unfortunately, didn't raise any money. Didn't quite get the word out well enough. But it is a charity that sends video games, game consoles, codes for downloads, stuff like that, to troops overseas. And I know a lot of people I have talked to are like, well, I have friends all over the world, and they're like, well, that's great, but I mean, that charity doesn't really support our troops. It does. They have sent packages to Australian troops. They have sent packages to British troops, to French troops, to German troops. To anybody who's been in a war zone, they will send video games to. And speaking as ex-military, I spent 4 years of my life in the Army. I did a year of my time overseas in Iraq. Video games are a huge way to help out. It helps take your mind off of what's going on. It's a good way of just, I guess, playing therapy. Like, it helps so much. And yes, I said that they send them overseas. They also do a lot with major hospitals in the United States, like major troop hospitals. They've sent packages to Brooke Army Medical Center down in San Antonio, which is one of the premier hospitals in the country right now for injured troops. And they'll use these video games as both a physical therapy, because every video game out there now has, or every console has some form of motion control. But by doing that, they can help get troops their minds off of things. So here we go. Let's see what my first encounter is. This has to be a male. It is a Machop, and it is male. So Machop is going to be my first encounter. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a longer encounter just because I'm going to be binding until he's low on health, and then hopefully catching. Which, I believe I was given, yes, I was given 5 Pokeballs, so the lock has officially started. Been busy talking, I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to every little thing that was going on. But my goal is that I am going to do another charity event like that this year. I'm not sure when. Typically they do it over Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, the holiday weekend that is in May. I don't know when my finals week is. I don't know anything like that. I can find that out relatively easily, but I don't know it at the moment. Okay, so we gotta come up with a nickname for this Machop. I'm gonna call him Champ. I did change impossible evolutions, so I don't have to trade to evolve into Machamp. Now, see, this here is a good explanation of what duplicate clause, or species clause rather, would be. So, if this was my very first encounter, I would not have to try to catch him. I could run away, because though he was male, he was the same species as the Pokemon I already had. Now, his seal would have been nice. So, I typically like to start off, if I can, before the first gym, having a fire type and a water type. It's never a guarantee, but it's nice. But anyways, back to Operation Supply Drop. So, my hope is that by that point, by the point that they do their annual charity event, that my internet is up and running at peak efficiency, and that I can actually stream something, because I want to stream. I want to do a live stream with a bunch of my friends just all sitting around playing video games, in the hopes that will raise some awareness or get some viewership for people to pay attention to this charity, because this is like I'm not the kind of person who jumps on the bandwagon of, oh, you should donate money to this place or whatever. But this is a charity that I really believe in. This is a charity that I support. Had I known about them when I was deployed, I probably would have tried to see if they could send something to my unit. I didn't know about them at that point, but it's a charity that really means a lot to me. And so, I'm going to try to do something for it. And then the fact that one of my favorite game developers, they actively support this charity to the point where they actually have... they released a DLC for State of Decay called Lifeline. And releasing this DLC, they had posters in the DLC that was of Operation Supply Drop. So that's why that means so much to me. It's just that this is a company that they're putting the graphics of this charity in their game. But anyway, we'll take a brief break from charity talk. We'll actually take a look at our Pokemon. So we have a hasty Dusknoir named Shadow, who we already knew what moves he knew. He's going to be a defensive Pokemon, I believe, and he's not bad on special defense either. And then we will look at Champ, the Machop that I just caught. He is Jolly, level 4. and he knows low kick and leer. And his attack is fairly decent. Not bad defense, but everything else he's going to get bodied if he comes up against a special attacker, which is possible with everything being randomized. We'll actually see if I can get him a little bit of experience here. My goal is to get to that first town with the gym. It's been so long since I played Black and White. Please forgive me if I don't remember names of towns. And we found an Onyx, which this is perfect because with Machop being a fighting type and knowing low kick, he will demolish this thing. And so that's an easy experience for him. Yeah, Onyx doesn't have, or he's not great as far as giving experience, but you know what? I'll take whatever I can get. I will, as I promised with the Heart Gold Let's Play, I will try as hard as I can to not do grinding montages. I can't promise anything though. And that's gonna hurt. So we're gonna go ahead and swap out because I can't risk him getting a critical hit. That I don't believe it would kill me, but I don't even want to take the chance right now. Oh, and he's gonna use Smog. And I don't know why, but for some reason I thought Poison was strong against Ghost, which I'm probably an idiot for thinking that. But you know what? I've been playing Pokemon now for 16 years, 17 years. I've been playing it for a really long time. I just remember it came out in 1998 with Red and Blue. I've been playing it for a long time. There's a lot of stuff to remember. And we got 2 levels out of that for Champ. And now we'll come up here and we'll listen to these 2 tell us that we tied with them. Most of the time, whenever I go through this, I always try to have as many Pokemon as I can. I've done a couple of full Pokemon hacks or mods, I guess you could call them, where is this the town with the first? No, this is not the town with the first gym. That's what I thought. I've done a couple of Pokemon mods where it's been like Fire Red, Leaf Green 395 or 391 or whatever, where it's all of the Pokemon up to that point are available for capture in the game, to include trade evolutions, even Pokemon that can evolve through stones. So it feels weird to me. Like, part of me wants to do just a randomized, where I don't have to worry about the Nuzlocke rules or the Typelocke rules or Genderlocke or anything like that, which I may end up doing at some point. It's not going to be something I probably record, but I might. I might do that with, if I can get them to work. I would absolutely love to do that with Heart Gold, Soul Silver. To not have to do a Nuzlocke, because they are some of my favorite games. Like, Gold and Silver, the original Gold and Silver, and by extension Crystal, are my favorite Pokemon games. Because as much as I loved Red and Blue and Yellow, there was something special to me about, like, oh, well, guess what? We have just introduced 2 new Pokemon types. And we've introduced eggs. And we've introduced a whole bunch of new Pokemon. And all of this. And we're giving you not 1, but 2 entire regions to just journey around and see for yourself. And that sort of thing is very powerful nostalgia to me. So my hope is that I can get the ROMs to work. If I can get the ROMs to work, I will record just a randomized. Like, I'll stick with that. We'll buy some Pokeballs here. I'll probably just go with 10. That way I get the Premier Ball. if I can get that to work, then I will just record a randomized, and I will set up a few rules to it. Um, the randomizer that I have, I can use uh, certain things with it, so I can change the capture rate, or I can make it so that no legendaries appear in the wild. Uh, like on one playthrough, it was actually my Black 2 playthrough, which was the last thing that I did last night as far as recording before I realized that the anti-piracy wasn't patched. Um, my Pokemon was a Wartortle. That was my starting Pokemon. I actually had really good starting Pokemon choices. I believe it was a Wartortle, a Torchic, and what was the other one? Archon. Which I don't like fossil Pokemon anyways, so I clearly wasn't going to choose him, but I had a choice between Torchic and Wartortle. And I chose Wartortle because Blastoise is just power incarnate. The very first encounter that I found in my first route was Raikou, which scared me a little bit because he's got really low capture rate, but I still managed to catch him. I think I used like 6 Pokeballs or something like that to catch him. If I do a randomized, I will probably say no legendaries in the wild. Now, what that means is that when legendaries do finally show up, like for Heart Gold, let's say I get up to the top of Bell Tower and I fight Ho-Oh. That means that I'm not actually fighting Ho-Oh. It'll be his sprite and everything, but once I get up there and I initiate the battle, it could be any legendary. I could be fighting Mewtwo, I could be fighting Mew, I could be fighting one of the Lake Trio, I could be fighting Giratina. It could be any legendary up to Generation 4. And so, that would be how that randomizer would work. Which makes things a little bit more fair, because I'm not going up to the first gym battle with, a level 15 Ho-Oh and a level 15 Suicune, and it just makes things a little bit more fair. So we are going to be fighting Togetic. I don't think that this is going to be too much of a difficulty, but we will see. We will see how this goes. Now that growl is going to do a little bit, but not. Oh, and that was a critical. So that was a crit. It would appear that we are tied on speed right now. And he's going to confuse me. That's okay, because I did the Leer that I wanted to do, and I'm going to swap out. I will probably set up a Bind and then a Nightshade. And that should end the battle if I've done my stats correctly. Metronome could be an issue. Fire Pledge. And that was a critical hit, and that only did 7. So I'm not horribly worried about that. It hurts, yes, but it's not gonna be a kill. But he's gonna Sweet Kiss me here. That could be the issue. So Metronome could hurt a little bit more if he uses it again, and I hit myself. So after this, I may end up healing. But okay, so that doesn't affect me anyways. Vice Grip is a normal type move. Hopefully, I can get. Apparently, Nightshade does not affect Togetic. Okay. We are going to see exactly what its typing was prior to Generation 6. It's a normal flying. I was under the impression that Nightshade still affected normal types. It was the one ghost move that did, but maybe I'm wrong. I will do a little research after this episode just to see how wrong I am. A lot of things. Foresight. I believe that lets normal types. Well, enables ghost type target. I don't really need it. Um, to see exactly how wrong I am. That's what I need to look at, because I typically keep the rules of the most recent generation like fresh in my mind. And so X and Y, he's fairy flying, I believe. And so, I mean, fairy type moves can be hit with dark type moves, or ghost type moves rather. So I'm gonna see if this is the case. That is also gonna make catching Pokemon a little bit more uh, difficult if I manage to encounter my first encounter is a normal type Pokemon, because it means I'm gonna have to bind them and just slowly whittle things down. But we've got our Dusknoir at level 9. We've got Machop at level 8. He gained some levels out of that, I believe. So we're not doing bad. Yeah, he's level 8, and I'm going to switch to Dusknoir because I'm getting ready to go into a new route. And that means a new encounter. One thing I absolutely hate is that I have to walk and trudge along here with no running shoes or anything. It's the one thing I absolutely hated about the older games, is that you didn't have running shoes. And so the fastest you could go was when you got your bike, typically about 2 hours into the game. So it's unfortunate, but I will do what I can. I was a little bit worried there that my game had frozen, because I've had that issue as well with ROMs. It's almost always been with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but it has been an issue. And now I have the running shoes. I thought I received them relatively early on, and I technically I was right, but I'm still almost 40 minutes into this recording, and I just now received them. I'll probably go to 50 minutes actually. I'll see if I can get up to that town. I don't know if I can. And here we go, first encounter. And the first encounter is going to be a Volcarona. And it is male, so it will work with the Genderlocke rules. And I don't... Leech Life's not going to be an issue. Especially not when I can Nightshade anything I have issues with. I don't remember what his primary type is. I'm thinking that his primary type is fire and his secondary type is bug. But again, there's like 700 Pokemon out there right now, and he escaped from the Pokeball. I kind of expected that. I'm waiting for him to Leech Life me a couple more times, get his health up a little bit higher, and then I'll Nightshade him again. But there's 700 some Pokemon out there. Like, I can't be expected to remember every single type and every single secondary type. Especially not with Volcarona, which is weird that I'm actually encountering a Pokemon. I might actually... Oh, I don't know if I can disable that. I know I can disable Ember, but him using String Shot against me, lowering my speed, he might outspeed me. But here's hoping that we just catch him here. And we just caught him here. So we've caught our Volcarona. He's Bug Fire. Okay, so that helps me out a little bit. Now to give him a nickname. Let's call this little buddy Firefly. And we'll probably go heal. Oh, I should have just grabbed that item. We'll go heal. 10 more minutes. I'll have a couple of trainer battles up here that I should be able to finish up relatively easily. I will see how I am doing as far as where I'm at or where I want to be at. I may make it a little longer. I may actually go for the full hour, which if I do, I'll still try to do an hour for Wednesday. you guys don't have to worry about that. Um, but we will do what we can here. I will see where I'm at and see what I feel happy with as far as having happened during this playthrough, and I'll stop when I feel like it. I think that's just safe to say. Well, let's see what this item is. Black sludge, which I accidentally hit my B button. Would be great if I had a poison type Pokemon on my team. But Volcarona, I totally forgot to actually take a look at him. So he comes with a Nana Berry, and he has Ember, String Shot, Leech Life, and Gust. So it's a good thing I did switch Dusknoir and Machop, because had I kept Machop in, he could have gusted. It could have been very dangerous, and he is a huge special attacker. So it's definitely a benefit here that we switched. We will see kind of what else is in the area. Hydreigon. So this is one of those that I'm going to go ahead and just run from, because he's gonna hurt if... Okay, so he's gonna focus energy here. If I don't get away from him, this is gonna hurt. A bite, especially with a critical hit, would do way too much that I'm not prepared for that. So here is our very first wild trainer battle. We had a battle against Sharon and Bianca. We had a battle against N. Also, I think I mentioned this earlier. The trainer card. So at the beginning of the next video, the trainer card will be updated. So it will have... oh, and this Raichu has Thunderbolt. The trainer card will be updated with whatever Pokemon I have caught. We are going to see if I can disable that, because I cannot let that thing keep Thunderbolting me. It would just be for a very bad time. I have a potion. I've seen people, and he's got Thundershock, but Thundershock is going to do considerably less to me, so I'm not as worried about that. I can take another one of those. The trainer card, it will be updated. At the beginning of every video, we will have a new trainer card. It will look exactly the same. I really like the design of the trainer card that I have right now, with the flames in the background, because anybody who knows me, I am a fire type trainer. I love my fire type Pokemon. I've loved them ever since Generation 1 with Charmander, despite the fact that he was not who I picked the first time around. Bulbasaur was my very first starter, because back then, we didn't really have the internet. We didn't really have all this information out there about what Pokemon evolved into what, and all this stuff. And at the time, I was really big into turtles, and I thought Bulbasaur kind of looks like a turtle to me, despite the fact that, yes, I know, Squirtle is a turtle. But I thought, like, oh, he looks kind of cool. Like, I kind of like that. And so I picked Bulbasaur. And at the time, in Generation 1, that was actually a really smart move. I know a lot of people argue with me, oh, but Charizard wrecks everything he goes up against. Well, Charizard is weak to rock, so he automatically has issues with the first gym. He is weak to water, so he has issues with the second gym. Charizard he does grow to be powerful, but he's got a lot of issues early on in the game. Bulbasaur does not. Bulbasaur has issues later in the game, yes, when Venusaur is not one of the better Pokemon. I am going to switch Volcarona around front, just so he can gain a little bit of experience. I'm not sure if this guy will actually... He will not challenge me, so that's okay. But this nice young lady will challenge me. So, I mean, yes, this is Generation 1, too. You have to realize that there's not a lot of unique typings. Everything is kind of a unique typing, because there's nothing out there. So this feel might be a little bit of an issue. Let's see here. Um, we'll leech life. We'll see just how much. I do not do much damage to him at all, but he's gonna encore me anyways. So I kind of have to keep going with it, or switch out, which I could do, but that water gun is what's going to hurt. And so we're going to go ahead and swap out for Machop. Um, we are 45 minutes into this right now, so I have a feeling I'm not going to get up to that first town because I still have a couple of battles left to do, and I'm going to do my best to not just like run back to a Pokemon Center after every fight and heal. But if a Pokemon is getting low, I'm going to go heal it. Now, I believe that this is still the same route. Yeah, it's the same route all the way up to through Striaton. I have to make sure because sometimes they just transition in a new route. And, of course, I'm going to encounter a Giratina that I can't catch because I already got my encounter for the area. Which, it's a Volcarona. He's not bad, and I'm not going to be, like, crying over the fact that I caught Volcarona instead of Giratina, but at the same time, that stings a little bit. So, yes, as you guys can see, I do have legendaries turned on for wild encounters. I do not have them turned on for trainer encounters. I also have something else clicked that's not to use game-breaking moves early on in the game. Now, those moves would be things like Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is a big one of them. I can't get past that anyways. So the trainers won't use Sonic Boom or Dragon Rage early on in the game. We will see what these are. We have a Mental Herb. And we have Odd Incense. We will go ahead, we will fight this trainer, and actually I will get up to Striaton today. I don't know why, but I thought this route was longer. So like Sonic Boom and Dragon Rage will not start appearing on Pokemon until they are they are above level 20. They are in their mid-20s. That's the earliest that they will appear, because it wouldn't be very fair for me to encounter a Garchomp on this route that just magically has Dragon Rage. Well, if he has Dragon Rage, he one-shots anything that goes up against him, which means I will lose 3 or 4 Pokemon. I may lose my entire team to a Garchomp with Dragon Rage. Or even Sonic Boom. I mean, Sonic Boom wouldn't one-shot anything on my team right now, but it would do a lot of damage. And it would two-shot everything on my team. So, those are turned off. My opponents also will not use legendaries. Do I have to fight Bianca here? I honestly can't remember. Yes, I do. So, I'm at a mild disadvantage just because my Pokemon haven't been healed after the last 2 battles. But I think I can take her. So she's going to start off with Mankey, which is great because Volcarona has Gust. And I should be able to take this Mankey down relatively easily. And, Mankey goes down. And we will see what Bianca uses next. Kabutops. So this is actually a good job for Champ, because Kabutops is Rock type, or part Rock type anyways. I believe he's Water Rock or Rock Water. I can't quite remember. He's Rock Water. I remember that because I've been watching other people do Soul Links. So, Rock is weak to fighting. Machop's he's gonna wreck this thing. So, one of the big things that got me into wanting to do YouTube videos is these 2 guys, Shady Penguin and King Nappy. They were doing a Soul Link, a randomized Soul Link Typelocke with the original Red and Blue. And so Nappy's starting Pokemon was a Kabutops, which was Rock Water, and then Shady Penguin's starting Pokemon was Rhyhorn. And their starters lasted a really long time. I believe their starters died in the champion battle, which is kind of what I hope to do. I don't necessarily know how possible it is. Dusknoir is... he's kind of a glass cannon as far as I'm concerned. I never seen him in competitive play. And we... oh, I was almost thinking we were going to get that third level, but we fell just short of it. So, Dusknoir is a little bit of a glass cannon. He'll get better as I actually can get some moves on him. It's 50 minutes in right now, so I'm going to do one more thing. Because all static Pokemon are changed, I am going to go pick up my static Pokemon, which in the original games, it was one of the 3 elemental monkeys. I don't know why. See, this is why I'm so used to just hitting B button. It was one of the 3 elemental monkeys. And so, here I don't know what it will be. It could be anything. They could give me a Giratina. They could give me a Magikarp. It could be so much. But I will have to fight a trainer battle or 2 to get there. Which is perfectly fine. That gives me some training for my Pokemon. I just kind of wish that I would get the Pokemon before I fought the trainer battles, so I can level them up. Spinarak is going to be easy fodder for Firefly. Firefly will wreck that. He has choices on how to wreck that. He can Ember it or he can Gust it. I'm just going to go with Ember. Just because he's going to get Stab on it. And we got Ducklet. Now, I don't really have anything that can easily handle Ducklet, so I'm just going to send in Shadow. Shadow should be able to Nightshade this. It should take 2 hits. And Ducklet will go down. And I have to use Shadow because Ducklet is water flying, I believe. And I can't risk him using... excuse me, I can't risk him using a flying type move on Machop, and I can't risk him using a water type move on Volcarona. I don't really think he has any moves other than what he's been using, though, because he's just lowering my evasiveness, but that doesn't do him any good when he doesn't attack me. So, let's see what we got here. We should be very close to it. I should have one more battle, and it's that person who's just spun. Should be the gift. The gift Pokemon, whatever that is. Once I do that, once I get that Pokemon, I'll probably head back to... and we got Youngster Joey. Youngster Joey is representing right now. With him and his baggy shorts, but no Rattata. Or, I assume, no Rattata. He very well may have one. This playthrough might just be cruel enough to give Youngster Joey in the Dream Yard a Rattata. Once I get my static Pokemon, whatever that is, I will go ahead. He's going to withdraw into Houndour. I never see that happen. I can only use Ember. So, we're going to switch out to Champ. And we're going to see how well of a hit he can take, because I just unfortunately powered up fire type moves. He's going to boost his attack here. But if I can outspeed, which I do outspeed, this should do a decent bit of damage, and that'll knock him out. So that's a crisis averted right there. Thankfully, sending out Remoraid. So I think I gotta stick with Volcarona here, despite the fact that Volcarona is weak to water type moves. I may have made a miscalculation on that. But we'll see. We will go from here. We will see how much Leech Life actually does. A little bit. let's actually go Gust. We will see how well Gust does. I mean, neither one of them is super effective, but Gust has a little bit higher power anyways. And it leaves him with a sliver of health. So we'll Leech Life him again, which will kill him off. It'll get me an HP back, which I will take that. And I'm trying to think. I don't think Why Not has very much left, and so I might actually just stick Shadow in there, just so that I could say, "Hey, he saw the battle." Uh, we'll stick him in there. Why not? I should be able to Nightshade, and that should finish the battle for me. So yeah. I mean, Shadow's not going to get anything as far as experience for that, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm going to get an Electabuzz. But apparently Electabuzz can now use Water-type moves. They don't change the dialogue. So what do we want to name? I'm going to name him Sparky. So this is great news. Electivire is one of my favorite Pokemon. And I can come up here and I can actually get this item. An eject button. It's mildly unfortunate that let's actually take a look at this Electabuzz. And it is male, so I can use him. That is incredible. So he just has Quick Attack, Leer, and Thunder Shock. But you know what? I still did have a flying weakness. I actually had a double flying weakness because Bug is weak to flying, and Machop is weak to flying, and that is now covered by the Electabuzz. So we'll come here, we will heal, and that actually brings me to 57 minutes. So you know that's not bad. That's pretty close to what I was originally shooting for. I know I went back and forth about I'm just gonna do 45 minutes. Well, maybe I'll do 50 minutes. Well, maybe I'll go an hour. But you know this is close enough to an hour that I feel like I would be fine with that. So we will go ahead and save. And from there, we will call it a day. So, once the save file goes through, so we are good to go. So everything will be updated, our trainer card, and everything will be updated for the next go around for the next video, which should be going up Wednesday. I think I am just gonna do Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I haven't quite figured out what my weekend day will be, but I will figure that out. And we will see you guys next time. So, thanks for watching. Tommy out.